I just want to reiterate kind of the where we are right now in our cycle.
Caroline individual, can you show us what we got? We got a triangle.
It's this time that is one of those delicate times at CUNY Prep because we're getting scores in, and we also, the students that you're seeing in the day program for the most part are new students.
These are all reflect angles.
Vertical?
Vertical, yeah, that. Vertical angles.
So they've been with us, what, 3 weeks now? 3.5 weeks. So they've had orientation and a few weeks of instruction. So they're very new still to it, but they're starting to get into their groove.
What is that?
We clearly know that every man should be treated equal.
But they're also at that point where they're comfortable enough to start showing their true self. It's an interesting time to be here.
Went through the American Revolution.
I mean, I was impressed with the way in which the teacher took this very constructivist approach, starting out by saying, what do you know about this topic? And doing the brainstorming, and then looking at a legal definition, and then kind of supporting them through how you read it and annotate it, how you ask questions about it, and then having them do it themselves.
Modesty, prayers, and embroidery.
They were reading this Isabel Allende book, Island Beneath the Sea.
The life of a rowdy bachelor.
What I liked was that it's a really hard text, and they did it reading aloud. They struggled with it, but she just kind of pushed through. She helped them with some of the words, but then afterwards she asked them what was that like to not understand the words.
Somebody would raise their hand or something and say, well, what does that word mean? And she's like, well, we're going to get to that at the end. And basically what she's trying to do was get them to contextualize the words.
I think just really helping them learn that you don't have to understand every word to understand the meaning.
Eugenia had been educated in the IC convent in Madrid.
Where's Madrid? Anybody knows Madrid? Spain.
She asked them, why do you think I have you do this? And they had a couple of answers, but she said that she really wants them to read out loud so she can see where they are with reading. That it gives her an idea and an understanding of where each of them are.
He was responsible for finding her adequate husband before she was too old.
And then a book like that brought up so many issues of race and gender and all of these different things. It was very rich.
Next step, why again are you telling me that this is less than that?
The balance the teacher's trying to strike between there are rules, like you might see in a high school classroom, but is reinforcing a lot of their own personal responsibility. Like you need to bring your own notebook, you need to be organized, and yeah, so it's somewhere in between, I guess.
So we have 3 of them to talk to today. I'm sorry we couldn't get everybody in here, but we're trying really hard right at this delicate stage of our cycle not to disrupt things too much for the students. Feel free to give them any feedback also.
We started talking about the balance we saw in the classrooms that the teachers were trying to strike between, like the order and rules of a high school classroom versus encouraging, personal responsibility and adulthood. So, we were talking about whether like students are asking to go to the bathroom or having to use their cell phones or things like that.
The cell phone it's a reality for all of us now, and it really is, like you said, it's striking a balance. And I think I'm not as intentional about it, about striking a balance, but I think that you do have to take it kind of on a case-by-case, day-by-day basis. I put the onus on myself that students won't be going to their cell phone under the table if they're engaged in what we're doing. Because most of the time, they go to the cell phone if they're just like want to be distracted, and so if their mind's wandering and then they start thinking about cell phone, let me text, let me go on Facebook, that shouldn't be happening in the classroom. That's the bar I set for myself. Then, like today, those of you who were in my classroom, there was a young lady who went on her cell phone, and then she went on it again. And so I had to pull her out and talk to her, and it turns out there's something with her work shift and so on and so forth. So that then became a learning moment. Okay, if you have something going on, if you have an emergency call, another young man, he got a phone call, he went to the bathroom, took it, he had to leave because of his son. So there's stuff that happens that they really need to address, but they need to learn to say, Ms. Wilson, I have something going on. I need to step out.
There are some students, I allow them to sit exactly where they want to sit. And there are other students like, no, front and center. This seat reserved for you. And they don't fight me at this point anymore because they understand that I'm really not trying to just dominate the class. I know that this particular student does not function well in the back of the classroom.
And I was just fascinated about the confidence that the students had.
Yeah, I got 28.848.
Especially when you think about these are not your higher level students.
And yet you could tell they were working on those problems pretty much on their own while you were like, you know, helping individual students. But how does that occur? Because many of our developmental students in the college, community college, that's a huge issue.
A lot of times students come here and like for the first time in their lives they experience academic success and what that feels like. And that's a good feeling. They say, hey, this feels good. I want to keep doing this. And if it takes for me to be focused in class and to, you know, instead of watching TV or hanging out in the street to do my homework every night, then I'm going to do that to keep this feeling going.
How are you sort of building in all of the soft skills and expectations around being a college student into your course?
In the day school program and even in CTA, as we're teaching the classes, we're saying college all the time. You know, we're bringing it up, that that's where you're headed. And I think that's just part of, as teachers, we're so indoctrinated with it, so it's just part of what how we're framing our classes and our lessons all the time. So that's in a very like organic way, that's the soft skills are being relayed. And then I think that they have a very clear understanding that what they're doing right now is for a very particular reason. Whereas I don't think that that was really necessarily in their mindset, in their previous educational experiences. Like working hard in math class right now, I'm doing this for a very particular reason, to get to CTA and then get to college. And this path has been laid out to me by CUNY Prep, and so they have this sense of like they're going somewhere.
I was in your class, and I think that almost everything you did was college prep. I mean, I think this book is really hard, and it's something they would read in college. And I think just even tackling it and seeing them struggle with the words, and I didn't know a lot of the words, it showed them that they could do it. I think that we tend to dumb things down and give students things they're comfortable with rather than giving them something they're uncomfortable with and then providing the support around getting through it and showing them that they can do this and that they can comprehend it and that they can, you know, this is college level reading.
So everyone was asked to give their account of the event.
I just want to commend you. I work at a large research university, and sometimes the faculty can just kind of go through the motions. But I just think if all of our faculty could show the enthusiasm and just to get students engaged and interacting with one another, we would just have a better educated society. So thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a happy note to end on.